Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roop Rai. Canada is set to get its largest shipment of COVID vaccines this week. Alberta tabled its budget today, but what does that mean for Canada and Alberta's future? Let's talk more about that on today's Ideas on Points, Ghar ki Murgi Dal Barabar, with Pavan Illapavalluri. Let's bring him onto the screen. Hello. Hi, Pavan.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe to you too. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Long
आप कैसे हैं?
time no see.
Long time no see. आप कैसे हैं? आपका गुजारा कैसा चल रहा है?
मेरा गुजारा चल रहा है because I really don't know what to say to that. आपका गुजारा कैसे चल रहा है?
अल्लाह की दुआ से सब कुछ कुशल मंगल है.
Yeah, मेरा भी चल रहा है because I get food cooked sometimes. So I'll mention here that last 3 days Pavan has been cooking, and I'm so happy that he's been cooking. So last night he made kick-ass rice.
Dal barabar.
Oh yeah, dal. He's been cooking dal. You make dal a couple of times. Man, I gotta stop using my finger. I use my finger a lot.
Yeah, you can wag your finger at me. That's okay. It's not something which is unknown of.
But I don't just wag it at you. I wag it at everybody. So every time I do a show, like when I watch it later, if I watch it later, I'm always seeing my hands moving, but it's always a finger. And then Arohi points that finger out to me. Arohi's always like, Mama, when you get mad, that finger's come up. That finger comes out. So I don't know if I'm mad. I'm not really mad, but that finger really just, it wags quite a bit. Anyways, let's talk about vaccines. So how is Canada doing for vaccination?
Much to be desired. Less said, less better.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
Yeah, so it's like 2% all over, an average of 2%. It's not. We are really lagging behind America and Europe. In fact, UK has done a very good job. They're up to 40% of people has been vaccinated. They're like almost hitting a herd immunity. So they have a very aggressive reopening schedule. So America, if Trump had been on the ball, they would have done very well as well. But Canada is not doing good at all. We're 2%, and Trudeau said that everyone who could be vaccinated by September will be vaccinated. It doesn't. I don't know. And there are many variables there. I'm still very hopeful that we will meet that schedule before kids go back to school in the next session. But
does that mean everybody as in every citizen of Canada will be vaccinated by fall, or does that mean
whoever wants to be vaccinated? That's
so whoever wants to be vaccinated will be vaccinated by fall is what
by fall
is what the Prime Minister is saying.
Yeah, has been saying that, and he still says that we are on schedule. So 2%, and so let's say 33 million people, and let's hope that 20 million people would want to be vaccinated. Let's make this 20 million people, and what? So this is April, May, June, July, August. So 5 more months. So 20 million people in 5 months. Every month, 4 million people. So 30 days, 4 million people. So one day, 200, 300,000 people. Doesn't make it has to be on a footing like an election footing. So with vaccines and everything, it seems to be pretty. I think we are really
struggling with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many vaccines? They said we're getting the largest shipment this week. How many vaccines are we getting this week?
600,000 or something. So we will be hitting 1 million mark very soon with that vaccine. So.
And the vaccines that are coming are the Pfizer vaccines.
Yeah, and also Moderna and Pfizer are the ones which have been approved, and they are both coming at a very aggressive schedule. So Moderna is every 3 weeks or so, but there is a big shipment of both Pfizer and Moderna are coming. The big question mark is that the AstraZeneca, that's the vaccine, is the big question mark. So there is
Yeah,
a huge supply of that vaccine available, and that vaccine is the
it's
one
not
which
approved yet. It's not approved in
no,
Canada.
no, not approved in Canada yet. There are but there is a huge pressure to approve it because that vaccine can be produced very aggressively. So India Serums Institute has a license, and that's an Oxford vaccine. So they have been very generous with their licensing. So there are many other.
So UK has been using AstraZeneca.
And also other vaccines too. So it has been approved in Europe and in of course in Asia. So India has been producing it and giving it to the various countries. So the controversy was about South Africa. So everyone who it's like India gave a big shipment to South Africa, and South Africa said that they're not going to administer this AstraZeneca vaccine. And the question is like they're saying that they're not really sure about how is it going to work in their with their variants. That's their
Mhm.
main question. So they want to do a bit more testing. It has nothing to do with the quality of the vaccine or anything. It's just that, so what they're doing is they're donating the vaccine to other African countries. So and that's the big step, is there is not real testing of this vaccine in various groups and various variants. That's the testing which is happening with AstraZeneca vaccine.
Okay, so Israel is also doing very well. What vaccine is Israel using?
That I'm not sure, but most likely Moderna or Pfizer vaccine. I think that's the.
So, why is it that Israel or England that they're able to get these vaccines from the US while we are not able to get them?
No, UK has its own big production. So UK and Europe have really have a local vaccine production. So these countries, what they did was they really clamped down on export of these vaccines. So they said that our country first before we
Mhm.
talk about exporting the vaccines. So and in fact Trump made an executive order that all the vaccines which we helped produce, as in the government helped to produce, has to happen to America first. And that's where there was a big 1 month to 4 or 5 weeks lull in vaccine shipments to Canada.
Yes, I do understand about the US, but I'm talking
Europe and
only about Europe. So Europe has their own production.
production.
And
England
is it
has its own production.
and what vaccines are they producing? Is it Pfizer, Moderna?
Pfizer, Moderna, and also AstraZeneca. So all these vaccines are produced. So that's why Europe and UK and America are in a very good shape. And I think Israel has its own production as well. So countries with indigenous production of vaccines are doing very well. And
So Canada
Canada,
is lagging because we do not have any local production. And there is a company in Calgary that is looking into getting rolling that out, but that's going to take a long time. It will be
yeah,
after fall that if that happens.
yeah,
So
and
why did Canada not jump into the game of producing it locally in advance if we knew this was coming?
we the thing is we didn't know this was coming. Canada University of Saskatchewan is one of the leading laboratories for vaccine research and production. So Ebola vaccine was developed in that research lab in Saskatchewan, and this is the vaccine why the world has really conquered Ebola virus. And this lab has worked really hard in the research, like fundamental research. But
Mhm.
we but at some point we could not really capitalize on our research edge to manufacturing edge. I've been hearing about there are manufacturing facilities out in the east, but no, not I don't know much about it. But we are a bit late into this game of catching up right now.
Okay. So I guess we wait.
We
That's
wait and we hope and we wish. So the big thing is hopefully Health Canada would approve AstraZeneca vaccine. So that has the huge capacity to scale up. So
mhm.
and there it looks like it's there in the final stages of either approval or disapproval. So they can produce up to 40 million doses very quickly. So then we will be able to meet those September deadline. But there
So
are these.
if AstraZeneca does get approved, is it coming from India then, or who is the government
we
writing a contract with?
Yeah, so we most likely it will be India. So India has a big production, so India can see. So India. So when Oxford was researching this vaccine, Serum Institute in Pune, they retooled the whole factory before the vaccine got approved. So they worked with the research company, the Oxford research company, which was producing it, to develop the production facilities. So in that how India is really, as soon as they got approval, it started just switch on the machine and it started cranking up. So they can produce 50 million doses per month or something. So uh,
Are they cheaper than the Pfizer and Moderna?
oh, for the scale of things, how they, and Pfizer and Moderna are RNA vaccines. Maybe we should. That's not the topic, but the RNA vaccines are the ones which are which need low temperature and all of that. They are very unstable vaccines. But the AstraZeneca vaccine is a very stable vaccine, which is a and it is a DNA vaccine which stays stable. So that's why they can produce larger amounts. That's why they can ship to faraway places. It's the vaccine for common man and a common country.
And the normal vaccines that we've been using all this time are not RNA vaccines.
Mhm.
The ones that we already have are similar to AstraZeneca.
Mm.
So we know that maybe it's just a myth that AstraZeneca seems to be a vaccine of choice for a lot of people. They want that vaccine rather than the RNA one because RNA is a new technology.
Yeah, I would rather get an RNA vaccine because it's
Why?
new.
Why?
It's a new technology, and the way it works is really, really cool. So what it does is that's going to be the new way of administering drugs from now on. So it is going to signal, like it acts like a virus. So virus can't reproduce itself. So what it does is it goes and injects an instruction, basically a small piece of code into the cell to say that replace all your genetic code and use this code. So it's a hacker basically. So it hacks the cell to reproduce its copies, not the cell's copies, but its copies. So these RNA vaccines are using the same sort of a hacking method to inject a code into that. It's a cool technology. And so there is a huge impact of these vaccines in the sense that this is the way I think the next big cancer treatment will happen. So it's like that's the next step of medical evolution is cancer treatment through mRNA vaccines,
So
mRNA drugs, vaccines, whatever you want to call.
So COVID not just propelled us into working from home culture, but it also is helping develop technology. And
Oh yeah, so these mRNA vaccines would not have been approved this fast. This mRNA vaccines are like a really, really God sent technology, God sent way of curing, especially hematology, blood cancers. So this is there is a huge amount of research which has been happening, and this has really shown how to manufacture them, to track them, and it has really approved new drugs for blood cancers, especially for pediatric cancers. Because maybe we should not talk about it, but this is what I will say. For children, for hematology, for blood cancers for children, the chemo is really, really hard on a child. So these are if you have some sort of an RNA based, it's like it's basically a shot, and this would be, if it works as they are promising to be, it would be very, very effective.
it's incredible how technology is developed. You might be trying to create something for something else, and then some other part of the system is benefited somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like how we were talking about NASA. In NASA, we're trying to get to Mars, but while we're developing that technology, there are other technologies that are being developed that are getting used in surgeries, that are getting used in other fields. So it's pretty neat how all of that works out. Okay, so vaccines in Canada. Let's hope we get one, and let's hope
Oh.
AstraZeneca gets approved. In Alberta, I know that they did announce that the primary care physicians, they will be getting vaccines now, and their staff. They are considering the frontline workers now, which is good, I guess.
Mhm.
Finally, we can go see our doctor because we haven't been to the doctor in a very long time either. All right. Is there anything else you want to add for vaccines before we move on to Alberta budget?
Yeah, one thing I want to say that is please don't shop what is the best vaccine, or these vaccine have been tested vigorously. They're like, you can see how Health Canada, in spite of huge amount of pressure, is going through a very, very rigorous testing. So
Mhm.
please don't say that, oh, Pfizer, Moderna, any vaccine. So if you go through different societies which has been vaccinated with a cornucopia of vaccines choices available, the death rate has fallen considerably. The hospitalization rates have fallen considerably. So be grateful that you are getting a vaccine, and if you get a choice, then choose one, but don't wait for your favorite choice. This is not an ice cream flavor choice available. So please, if given a choice, and if there is only one choice, take it. It will be much better than getting infected yourself and rolling the dice on seeing how badly you would be infected.
I've actually heard people say that they will wait for AstraZeneca vaccine. I've heard people say that. And that usually people of Indian origin or South Asian people that I know, they do say that. I don't know why, but I've heard that quite often. And
Yeah, so
people are worried
please.
because internet, Facebook has all the information, all the correct information, right? Like social
Yeah, and
media.
WhatsApp University is the best way to get news.
And WhatsApp University tells you that maybe the new vaccines are designed to put a chip in you, track you.
I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy that people. Yeah. Now everyone talks about vaccination. Without vaccinations, we would not be here. But that's. But
Yeah. So
my
Israel is doing very well with vaccination, and they have brought down their infection rate. It's dropped down by 94%.
yeah. It's
Incredible.
crazy. It's crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah, and
So
so please don't shop for vaccines. That's
don't.
naive. If I it's not like you have a choice of your gelato, but it's just you should be grateful that world has yeah, science has given a vaccine within few months of a pandemic hitting. So please get a vaccine, and you are not only helping you but the society around you.
Ali says WhatsApp University is my go-to source. That's where I found out that Earth is flat.
It is flat.
It is flat, my friend. Within Canada, how's Alberta doing in terms of vaccination?
Yeah, I don't think we are matching the average. So we are around 2%, and people over 75 are almost all registered, and they're getting vaccines. I hope that those most vulnerable people are getting vaccines. I hope that progresses very well.
I think they need to go to cancer survivors, and
Yeah, and
you
yeah.
know. So, what province is doing the best in Canada right now? Maritimes are doing very well.
Yeah, Maritimes. Quebec is doing very well. It's above 3.4 or something percentage. While everyone is stuck at 2 points, it has crossed 3 points. So Quebec is.
How are we comparing to BC and Ontario?
Yeah, Ontario, I don't think is doing very well, but BC is doing better than Alberta.
So Ontario and Alberta are neck to neck.
So if we are all, it's like arguing over 0.01%. We are all practically, we are dependent on, it's a federal acquisition program, right? So it's about the thing is where these differences come in is how good or bad your rollout is. These governments figure
So
that
how
out
is
very.
Alberta faring in the rollout is what I'm trying to ask you.
Oh, we fall in the middle. We are not really bad, or we are not really best.
Okay, talking about Alberta, budget was tabled today. a massive deficit as expected because we are in a pandemic. And going forward, I think that is going to remain because I know when the government came into power, their platform was that they're going to balance the budget, but that is not going to happen, or not in this term. Absolutely not. So that is, pipe dream right now, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. Pipe dream. Hey, see what I did there? But so what do you have to say about the budget today?
Yeah, it's a hold budget. Like we will hold the course and try to. This is not a budget growth budget by any means. It's just a pandemic budget trying to increase healthcare funding. It's like a survival budget. You're helping the society cope with the pandemic. It's like a once in a century or once in a millennium sort of an event, and you can't really fault the government for doing what it's doing. It's holding the line here. And regarding the deficit, it has the projection was around 20 billions and for the deficit this year, and it has been reduced to 18 billion. But a billion here, billion there, who is counting when you're investing in pipeline companies?
Right.
So it is a holding the line budget, and in fact they are very, very conservative. That's one thing which stood out to me, is they're very, very conservative when they're. So Alberta's main revenue is oil prices, so oil and gas prices. It used to be a big gas economy, not anymore. That's what they want to go. We can talk about that in next time sometime. But oil prices, they are estimating that they will stay around $55, $54 for next 2 years till to 2023. But the oil price today is $63. So
yeah, they were very conservative, but that was not the case last year in the last year budget.
No, not even in the NDP government. The NDP government, that all the NDP government, when it was 40, it was even $30. They were budgeting for $60.
60, yeah, I remember it was $60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was some cuckoo times. Like but here this budget, they were very, very conservative. So the budget was this year was for $44 or something. It's really low, and it's $63. So I think they want to do under promise and over deliver. So if the prices of oil hold, which I'm guessing that they may, given nothing has changed in the world economy. It's not like a spike. We are going through a big boom, and so we are just slowly recovering. And I was talking to someone who is very, very familiar with it, and they were saying that the big reserves are at the low. You don't know, but so there is a big speculation that we may be seeing the holding prices around $60, which everyone expected that oil will rebound to $60. Maybe we are seeing that price. Who knows? But the budget and the finance minister said that they are not currently considering other measures to raise the revenue. So
yeah, so I know Kenny has been saying recently that you can't cut your way out of this deficit right now.
Yeah,
so
coming from Kenny.
Which is incredible coming from Kenny. Is like, oh, we can't cut our way. So he's not really advocating cuts right now, but at the same time, he's getting hammered from both sides. Really, it's a very tough situation to be in. And again, like I'm going to say here, I'm not favoring any conservatives or any party right now. I have no association with any political party right now. But seeing from what I see him as a premier, or the UCP as the current government, so seeing them as that, I think he's stuck in a very precarious situation where he's getting hammered from both sides, where people are asking him to put cuts, and then there would be people who want him to raise the taxes, which I don't think is going to happen. But one thing that I have seen that has changed is conservatives, they used to say that they will never put the PSD, but now that has changed. The rhetoric has changed to not at this time.
So this is not the time to think of new tax measures.
Yeah, so that I felt that the rhetoric is a little different because I have never heard that before. Earlier it used to be we're never going to put sales tax, but I'm pretty sure that we're not going to see any sales taxes or PSD this term, at least. Maybe next term, I don't know.
Carbon tax as a PST is I think that will be more acceptable going forward, because the investment community I've been seeing, especially in the oil and gas investment community, because I'm very associated with it, and there is a movement in the investment community for some sort of a pricing, carbon pricing. So the earlier NDP government was on the right track to putting a price on the carbon, which made very easy to go and raise investments. So I'm sure this somewhere in this mix that the carbon tax will come into, not for the sake of, oh, we are big environmental defenders, but the investment community as such is demanding a price for carbon. So whenever they come up with an investment proposal, there is always, and there is a big shareholder pressure, there is a big activist shareholder pressure to come up with some sort of a carbon price. So the world is moving towards a carbon price, and federal government, there is no path for even conservatives federally without a carbon policy. So the conservatives got hammered last time. The reason why they lost, I think, is because they didn't have any carbon policy. So there will be a carbon policy, and I think the history will repeat itself, and the next UCP government hopefully will come up with some sort of a carbon tax, or some sort of a pricing on carbon. So in Alberta currently right now is suffering is having huge issues with the investment into oil and gas, and it's not because of the pricing mechanism or anything. It's just the environmental pressures of investors. So hopefully we will see that. That's my 2 cents of
All right.
carbon tax.
But this term, I don't think that
Mhm.
anything's going to change. It's just going to
No, I
stay
don't think
the
they
same.
have the mandate for that. So they
Yeah,
won't
it
change any
won't
of the
have
policies without a mandate.
Yeah, and I don't think we're headed anywhere close to balancing the budget either. It's just been a very, like you said, once in a lifetime thing that
Oh,
happened.
millennium. It's not
Yeah,
even a lifetime. Yeah, it's
yeah.
like a big, huge event. It's like a black swan event who no one really predicts it's to
Yeah.
happen. So, and I think the path will come through. So the new federal conservative leader, I think they will start formulating a carbon as a conservative movement. They will start formulating a
Well,
carbon
they have
policy.
to. They have to. You have
They
to have
have
a
to.
carbon policy right now. All
Yeah.
right. So, talking of oil and gas and carbon, so what is the future of oil and gas in Alberta? What do you see right now?
Oh, it's good. There is no question. Alberta Oil and Gas, world needs Alberta Oil and Gas. There is gas for sure. Gas is, you saw the event in Texas, and Alberta Gas reached Texas for the to help the really miserable situation there. So Alberta Gas will be really useful, and Alberta Oil is one of the most stable oil and gas. So it's all about how you predict what sort of your future production is. And Alberta oil sands production is very stable, and it's getting optimized every day. It's getting the price point is getting lower and lower, and we are understanding how to ship it. And we talked about Keystone and all of the other issues, but oil and gas future, we may not be growing leaps and bounds because the world is changing, but as such currently we are in a good place, and we have to innovate more and more in how to make this cheaper and more sustainable. And that's where carbon price will come in, and that's where carbon capture and all of these ideas which we have been talking about have to be implemented. And someone talked about hydrogen economy.
Yeah, I
So
want to talk about hydrogen economy, but not today.
mhm.
Will, if you want to briefly talk about it, please go ahead. But
No,
Keystone,
there is, it's,
episode, I
we
just want
can't really have a brief comp, but we
yeah,
have it's a
I want to quickly mention that we talked about the Keystone pipeline, and I am going to put that episode link in the caption so you can go there and watch it later if you haven't already. So hydrogen economy, I know we can't talk about it, but what is hydrogen economy quickly?
So it's a hydrogen economy is decarbonizing the natural gas. So in hydrogen, the main is like a methane, so CH4. So you are taking the carbon out of the equation. So you are capturing carbon right at the source. So and you are and then that becomes a hydrogen economy. There is a lot of chemical engineering and physics involved in this, but basically that. So you are decarbonizing your natural gas. So it's like almost a deca like a non greenhouse fuel.
Okay. All right. I think we will talk about hydrogen economy because one of my friends, she wants you to talk about it, and we've got message about in regards to that. So maybe next time we can talk about it. We'll figure it out. But thank you so much. I think we've covered pretty much everything that we needed to so we're doing good in Alberta. Oil and gas is coming back up. It may not reach the same
Mm.
boom that it had earlier, but it is going to get stable again. Real estate market is doing really well right now in Alberta. That was random thought that came into my head, but apparently that is also going to stabilize because, of course, it's not going to stay like that the way it is right now. And vaccines are coming, so hopefully we'll be vaccinated by fall.
Yeah.
Hopefully Canada will approve AstraZeneca, so we'll have more supply of vaccines. We can get vaccines from India after that is approved. So we're kind of heading in the right direction as opposed to 2020 when everything seemed downhill. So fingers crossed, things are going to get better. Things are going to get brighter, and we're going to have a great summer. And I'm very optimistic, very hopeful. How do you feel?
Yeah, this is very, hopefully we all get vaccinated and that will kickstart the economy again. It's the economy which is like the small businesses are suffering really, really terribly. So please support your small business and tip your waiters and
Yeah, with the restaurants open though, we are back. The numbers are back up again for COVID.
yeah,
It
it's
just doesn't stop. It doesn't end. It's like a yo-yo. It's just keeps on.
even when you are vaccinated, the COVID virus will not go away from the society. Oh no, I don't want to end this in a bad no, in a so
Well, the infections go down and people don't get as sick as they
yeah.
would without the vaccine, right? So that helps. That's not
That helps way, but that helps. But it will take few years for the virus to
die out.
doesn't have any reserve. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
you should be careful again too. So if you
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're vaccinated, you can just be as
Also, if you are vaccinated, you can't really start going out and socializing because there are people out there who are not vaccinated, right? So
yeah.
you're still, unless we have that herd immunity, unless everyone is vaccinated or
And
majority
then
of
it will
people are
take few years for the virus to die out. So
and then a few years. So we have to be careful. But yes, like guys said, at least we don't get that sick. So vaccines are helpful in that. So I'm really hoping that all of us get them by fall. If not, then we're flying to somewhere, maybe US or India.
no, don't do that, and please don't do that. You are stealing someone's vaccine. So trust your government, however hard it is to trust the present government, but you should trust the government. Don't jump the queues and go somewhere and steal someone's vaccine. That's bad.
You know
No,
that
don't.
story about those the couple that went to Alaska, was it?
Or somewhere in the northern territories, they took.
I thought it was
Yeah,
Alaska somewhere, some First Nations, and
yeah.
they went and they pretended to be hotel employees there. They're from Vancouver and they got vaccines. They jumped the line and they got vaccines. And then they came back to Vancouver and they were fined.
Bad idea. Please don't do
And
that.
that doctor in Texas who had spare vaccines. Oh man, there's so many things I wanted to talk about. So he had spare vaccines that they were going to throw out, but he took them home and he looked up his list of his patients who needed the vaccine. And
Or he just put out a call, like he just put out a call, and then people came and yeah. So, and the reason it's like they said, and then the bureaucrat who fired him said that why, she said that there was no equity in the vaccine list. said that the vaccines, and
Yeah,
then he asked, the
it was
quote was
mostly
it?
South Asian people.
Yeah.
It was mostly South Asian people that he vaccinated. So for people who don't know the story, before Pawan interrupts me again, so there is this doctor in Texas who was vaccinating patients at a hospital, and they opened a vial of vaccine, which if they didn't use it by the end of the day, they'd have to throw it out. So it was a brand new vial. So there was, but I don't know the exact number of how many people he could vaccinate with that open vial, but he had to throw it out if he didn't use that. So he went home and he put a call out, and he called his patients or people he knew who needed a vaccine, who are immunocompromised, and he vaccinated a few people within his circle, or they came to his house, or whatever happened. And then he had one dose left for his before he had to throw it out. I think it was half an hour. So he injected that into his wife's arm because his wife was also immunocompromised. And then he was fired from the hospital. So there's this debate going on. Should he have thrown that vaccine out, or should he have used it the way he used it? So there's that debate. But yeah, the bureaucrats, like Pawan said, they fired him because there was inequity in how he used these vaccines. So majority of his patients, he's a Pakistani doctor of Pakistani origin. So majority of his patients are South Asian, whether they're of Indian origin or of Pakistani origin. So those are the people that he gave those vaccines to. So there's, he was fired for it, unfortunately. But from where I see, and from where everyone in the world or whoever's reading that is seeing it, is instead of throwing it, it doesn't matter who he gave it to. He gave
Except
it,
woke people.
Deserved it. Except, yeah. Well, I don't think anyone's really.
Woke people want equity.
Yeah, well, equity is good, but in this circumstance.
Well, there is no equity here, according to.
Yeah,
Well, that's true.
Yeah, but he reached out to everybody he knew. Maybe he knew more South Asian
But
people.
yeah, well, he should have more different races as this thing. So he should be fired.
So maybe that's a problem. He need to have more equity in the patients that he's seeing. So he needs to advertise in groups.
Yeah.
Where
you should not be advertising for more people. That's another problem.
No, as a doctor you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can. As a doctor, you can. So maybe that's the solution to his problem. Well, thank you so much, and I think we've covered everything that we needed to cover today.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe to you too. And we will be back. Well, I will be back, not him. Go away. Go away now. Leave. Say bye. All right. So I'm going to be back on Monday with a new program on Ideas on Point. So please stay tuned. Please like the video and follow our page as well. Tell your friends to follow our page. And if you have any topics that you want us to talk about, please text me, message me, or just send a message to our page. Please do interact with us and we'll talk about those topics. I know that I've had a few friends ask me about different things that we haven't yet talked about. We will get to it. I promise, as time goes, we will do that. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you always so much for liking the video. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Is it down here? Here somewhere? Hit that like button. All right. I'll see you on Monday. You have a wonderful weekend. Until then, take care. Rab Rakha.